All right, today we're cracking the code on money, but we're skipping all the boring jargon and the complicated charts. We're getting right to the good stuff, the hidden rules and the secret mechanics that actually control your financial world. Let's dive in.
Have you ever felt like money is a game? You know, a game where everyone else seems to know the rules, but you were never handed the rulebook? Yeah, you are not alone. It can feel so complex, so confusing, almost like it's designed to be that way.
Well, it doesn't have to be a mystery. Today, we're going to change that. We're breaking down some of the most fundamental rules of the game, from the giant global economy all the way down to what's happening in your own wallet.
Okay, first up, how money really works. We're starting at the absolute beginning. What actually gives a piece of paper or just a number on a screen its value? And why isn't all money created equal?
Think about it. A dollar, a pound, a yen. At the end of the day, they're just symbols. So why is one worth more than another? It's not random. It's actually a direct reflection of the economic power and stability of the country that's backing it.
So the crucial point here is that a currency's strength is basically a report card for its home country's economy. When a country is doing really well, selling more stuff than it buys and earning trust around the world, investors in other nations want to own its currency. That high demand pushes the value way up. And of course, the exact opposite is true for a weak currency. It's all a giant global marketplace that runs on economic performance and, maybe even more importantly, on confidence.
This seems like the most obvious solution ever to a country's money problems, right? If you need more, just make more. But as we're about to see, creating more money doesn't actually create more wealth. It just makes the money you already have worth a whole lot less.
To really get why, let's imagine a tiny little economy. Picture a small town with 100 people. And today, the town bakery has exactly 100 loaves of bread for sale. Now, every single person in town has $10 in their pocket. So naturally, each loaf of bread costs $10. The system is perfectly balanced. The amount of money matches the amount of stuff to buy.
Now imagine the government wants everyone to feel richer. So they fire up the money printer and give every single person another $10. Suddenly, everyone's walking around with $20. They feel twice as wealthy. But here's the catch. There are still only 100 loaves of bread. See, nothing of actual value was created. Now you have twice as much money chasing the exact same amount of stuff. So what does the baker do? He realizes he can charge more. The price of bread instantly doubles to $20 a loaf. You're not any richer. Your purchasing power just got cut in half. Everything is just more expensive. And that, in a nutshell, is inflation.
So, if printing money is a recipe for disaster, how do governments fund all those massive projects, like roads and schools and hospitals? The answer is debt. But if it feels like every single country is in debt, who exactly do they all owe money to?
The answer is actually pretty surprising. A lot of the time, they owe it to each other, and even to their own citizens. Governments borrow money by selling bonds, which are basically just fancy IOUs that pay interest. And the people buying these bonds are, well, everyone. Other countries, major banks, big investment funds, and yep, even the pension fund that might be managing your retirement. It's this massive, complex global web of lending and borrowing. Okay, let's move on to our next section, the economy's hidden dangers. Beyond the obvious problems like inflation, there are these other, less visible forces that can quietly wreck an entire economy. Take deflation. Falling prices sound fantastic on the surface, don't they? Cheaper groceries, cheaper cars, cheaper everything. What's not to love? Well, in reality, it can be incredibly damaging. In fact, it's something economists are terrified of. Here's why it's so dangerous. If you know that new car or that TV is going to be even cheaper next month, what are you going to do? You're going to wait to buy it. But if everyone waits, companies stop making sales. They lose money, so they have to cut jobs. And now with more people unemployed, even fewer people are spending money. It creates this vicious downward spiral that can literally freeze an economy and cause it to collapse.
All right, here's another hidden danger that's often disguised as a good idea. When a government puts a tariff on foreign goods, it sounds like they're taxing another country to protect local jobs. But is that who really ends up paying the price?
Let's just follow the money. The foreign steel company, they still get their full $1,000. It's the American car company that imports the steel that has to pay that $250 tax at the border. So, what does the car company do? It passes that cost right along. That tax gets baked into the final price of the car. So the person who ultimately pays for that tariff is you, the consumer.
Okay, we've looked at the huge economic forces at play.
Now, for Section 3, let's bring it right back home and look at the rules that directly impact your personal path to building wealth. Ever wonder why buying a house feels so completely out of reach for so many people? It is not just you. Decades ago, an average salary could pretty comfortably cover an average mortgage. But as you can see here, home prices have just skyrocketed, leaving wage growth in the dust. Housing has shifted from being just a place to live to being a major global investment asset, and that change has priced a lot of people right out of the market. Now, when it comes to the stock market, it's absolutely vital to know the difference between trading and investing. Trading is about short-term bets. You're getting in and out of a stock really fast to try and catch price swings. It's high risk. Investing, on the other hand, is about owning a piece of a company for the long haul, betting on its actual growth over years, maybe even decades.
This quote just sums it up perfectly. They require completely different mindsets. See, trading is all about trying to time the market, which even the pros find almost impossible to do consistently. Investing is about time in the market, which is a far more reliable path to building long-term wealth.
Finally, for our last section, let's pull back the curtain on the financial underworld. The kind of shadowy, less understood strategies and schemes that operate just below the surface.
For most of us, debt is a burden, but for the very wealthy, it can be an incredibly powerful tool. Instead of selling something like a stock portfolio and paying a huge tax bill on the profits, they can just borrow against it. This gives them cash to live on or reinvest, completely tax-free, all while their original asset continues to grow in value. It's a system that helps people with wealth create even more wealth.
And what about making illegal money look legal? Well, it's a three-step recipe. First is placement. That's getting the physical, dirty cash into the financial system, usually through a business that handles a lot of cash, like a laundromat. Second is layering. This is where you bury its origin story under dozens of complex, often international transactions. And finally, integration. The money pops back up, looking all clean as legitimate profit from a business. The crime isn't hidden. Its source is just completely erased.
So, from global currencies to secret tax loopholes, the key takeaway is this. The financial system is built on a set of rules. But these rules aren't laws of nature. They were created by people, which means they can be changed by people. And as new things like cryptocurrencies start to challenge the whole idea of centralized control, it really makes you wonder, who's going to write the rules for the next generation? And will you be ready to play by them?